Hi, so I'm making this video to chat about the Twitter spaces that I've been hosting lately, which deal with how we manage the emotional fluctuations, how we are triggered, and how we respond to that, and stress, distress, fearfulness, trauma, all the kind of inner stuff that we might want to focus on. Um, and I'll put a link to a video that explains a little bit more about that in a bit more detail. I'll put that in the description. And I just wanted to address a potential issue, because not everybody on Twitter behaves impeccably, and there have been disagreements and contention and drama, and not everybody sees eye to eye. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody feels welcome in my space, and everybody feels kind of safe at the same time. So the point I want to make really is that this is not a spectator sport. We have to practice the techniques, put them into effect. A bit like swimming, you can't just read a book and get a degree in swimology by watching and listening to other people. You need to get in the water, yeah? And obviously, making that transition into being able to get in the water, it's not that easy, you know? And I appreciate that it is difficult, but I am there to provide the safety net in the spaces as the host, to make sure that nobody feels like they're going to drown. And in order to put these things into practice, my thinking is, what better place than a Twitter space that reflects the wider space that we live our life in. So it's full of different people that don't all get on, that may have history with each other, that isn't just full of loads of really, really nice people. I mean, that would be boring, really, wouldn't it? So, there's an issue with, being able to enter that space and feel safe entering the space, but at the same time knowing that there is, something to work on and actually in the space itself. Yeah. So rather than me trying to preempt what might happen in the space based on who's in the space and what they might have done 5 tweets ago, I think I want to be there as a safety net to look at the behaviour that's unfolding in the space in real time, and support, give support through that difficult episode, which hasn't occurred in the space. I'm not referring to anything that's happened in the space. And I guess one thing I would ask you is, if I was teaching first aid and I've just taught you all the first aid techniques, the basic techniques of the sort of first level first aid, and we're at the end of the course, so you've learned all the techniques, and somebody starts choking on their chewing gum, what do you expect of yourself? What do you think I would expect you to at least attempt to do? Would I expect you to run out of the classroom because you don't want to be triggered in case you see somebody choking to death? Or are you going to DM me that chewing gum's evil and it shouldn't be allowed in the space? You've just learned the technique to deploy, to potentially save this person's life. So yeah, I would expect people to try it, and I would also absolutely be there 100% to step in as a backup, being aware that you are in the beginning stages of your training. So that's a little bit like how I would expect the spaces to work. So it does take time, but everybody's welcome in the space. It's not just for listening. We're going to have to get in the water and start swimming. I don't need people listening to me. I have a dog. But seriously, I don't want a million people listening to me. I'd like one person to deploy, like to just attempt to, or to show that they've remembered that the technique is there, that you've been taught, that you've at least remembered it, that you're supposed to be trying it, and that you can maybe try it, and hopefully through time get the practice, get into the habit, and it starts to work. And as soon as you start doing something a couple of times and you see it working, that's when it really takes off, and that's when the snowball effect starts, and then you just fall into that behavior instead of your previous unconscious behavior. So it's not just a space for listening, it's not just for entertainment or excitement. Yes, some people might like to stir up the excitement, that's fine, you can try, but I will part of that is, how do you respond to people that just want to stir up excitement? That's part of it. The whole reason, the whole variety of people that will be in the spaces for all their different intents, that's who's out there in the wider world. That's who we're practicing on in these spaces. So that's why I just want to make the spaces open to everybody and not try and preempt anything. Just deal with it as it happens, and I can, and I will. Okay? So there's loads of other brilliant spaces with fabulous hosts doing other types of spaces that might be more exciting and more entertaining, and that's great. And I'm not in any way suggesting that they are not essential or valid. They are. We need variety. We need a whole load of different experiences, and I'm certainly not suggesting that my space is in any way superior than anybody else's. It is just different, and I just want it to be really focused, not on the drama, not on whatever's happening out in the world that we can't actually necessarily control, but what's happening on the inside, so that we at least aren't constantly in a state of flux, even when nothing's happening to us. And that just puts us in a better position for dealing with the things that we can control with clarity. Just with clarity, and I can't remember the other word I was going to use there. So yeah, just let's keep the focus in these spaces on that, on you, what's happening inside you. That's the only thing that you actually are responsible for and that you can control in the moment, and you can. And let's just make it a space to sort of almost lift ourselves out of that whole dynamic of the drama. It takes up so much brain space and oxygen. So yeah, let's just take the plunge, get in the water and start swimming, figuratively speaking. And thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll hopefully see or hear from you soon in a Twitter space near you with a whole range of different people, not all of whom we agree with. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.